I am the Story Girl, and welcome to the story of the Riddle King. There once was a king who was very fond of his kingdom, and his kingdom was very fond of him. In fact, he took out a special day every single week that anybody in the kingdom who wanted to, anybody at all, could come and speak to him about whatever they wanted, and he would do his best to help them. But this king had a very particular fancy. He loved riddles. In fact, he would stay up at night thinking of different riddles that couldn't even be understood by his wisest counselors. And whenever he went out for a ride in the countryside, or if he was walking through the streets of the town, he kept his eyes and ears open for something that might be a riddle. One day, while the king was riding his horse through the countryside, he happened to see a farmer, a pumpkin farmer. Now, anybody else who saw this pumpkin farmer might think nothing of it and ride on by, but not this king. This king saw something that might be a riddle. He trotted over to the fence and said, "My good man, could I have a moment of your time?" "Why, of course, your majesty." And the farmer walked over to the fence. "Good sir, I see that you have quite a shock of yellow hair." "Yes, I do have yellow hair, and so do my father and my granddad." Yes, but your beard. I would say that your beard is possibly the grayest beard I've ever seen." "Well, yes, I do have a gray beard, that's the truth of it." "How odd. How truly spectacular," said the king. "Could it be possible that your beard is older than your hair on your head? Were you born with a beard?" "No," said the man. "Never thought about it myself." "Well, how could that be possible?" "Well," the farmer thought for a moment, and then he told the king why that might be possible. The king laughed heartily, thanked the man, and handed him 200 gold pieces, and said, "Now, this is an excellent riddle, but you must not tell that answer to any other person." "Not any other person for as long as I live?" said the farmer. "Well, don't tell it to any other person until you've seen my face 200 times. "Very well," said the farmer. "I'll do that." "Good man!" And the king rode off, mentally making a note never to ride past this part of town ever again. The king went home, and it just happened that this was the day of the week that he would accept anybody at all who needed to come to him to ask a question, talk about a grievance, or have a problem solved. And as he was sitting on his throne, taking in all of the people who are coming, the next chap in line happened to be his own gardener, a very nice, quiet, soft-spoken young man. "Good afternoon, your majesty," said the young man. "Why, my good fellow, what can I do for you? You're such a wonderful gardener. Hope I can do something for you." "Your majesty, the problem is, I'm in love." "That's not a problem," said the king. "Whoever the girl is, I'm sure she could not refuse such a handsome young gardener as you." "It's not the girl I'm worried about. I've spoken to her many times, and she loves me." "Well, what's the problem?" said the king. It's her father," said the young man. I don't think her father would approve." "Sure he will. All you have to do is go and ask him, that's all. Don't be afraid, don't be worried." "Well, he's quite a bit higher in status than I am, and I don't think he would want his daughter to marry a poor gardener." "Won't be a problem. Whoever it is, I will speak to the man on your behalf myself, so that you and this girl can be married." "Who is she?" It's her. And the young man points to the princess, the king's own daughter. "Oh," said the king. "My daughter?" "Yes, your majesty. She and I have been in love for some time, but she has told me that you only allow her to marry somebody of noble birth. Sire, I'm not of noble birth. I know I'm just a poor gardener, but I love your daughter, and I promise that will do whatever it takes to win her hand in marriage." "You want to marry my daughter?" The princess leaned over to her father and said, "Please, Papa, I love him so much." "Court is adjourned. I will see you again tomorrow at exactly this time." And the king left the room. Of course, the gardener is such a very nice, handsome young man, hard worker at that, but still a gardener. Well, what's wrong with a gardener after all that? I mean, he is a hard-working young man, intelligent, brave. He came and asked for the hand of my daughter, after all. My daughter. But if he marries my daughter, that means he will be the next king. Is he brave enough to be a king? Of course he is. Of course he is. Is he hard-working enough to be a king? Obviously. But is he intelligent enough to be the next king? I will put him to a test. If he can pass this test, of course I will allow him to marry my daughter. The next day, the king sat on his throne and the gardener walked in, hat in his hands. "I'm here, your majesty. My good lad, I see that you are brave, charming, hard-working, but I must see how good you are with riddles. Here is a riddle. I once met a man who had hair on his head as yellow as the sun, but his beard was the grayest beard I've ever seen in my whole life. How could that be possible?" That's the riddle, your majesty? Yes, that's the riddle. If you can answer that, then you may have my daughter's hand in marriage. But if you cannot answer it correctly, then I'm afraid she'll have to go to someone more intelligent. How long do I have to figure out the answer? As long as you want. Go ahead. You can go, come back. Whenever you have the answer, just tell my steward. He'll call me. We will see if you have the correct answer. Court adjourned, and everybody left. Well, the gardener, he was not an unintelligent young man. He knew that with every riddle there must be a true answer. Could it be possible that this farmer was born with a beard, but bald, so that his beard is older than the hair on his head? Surely not. He had never heard of a baby being born with a beard. Could it be possible that this man had been bald all the days of his life, but had been able to grow a beard, and then miraculously grew hair at the last second to make the beard older than the hair on his head? Surely not. Well, the gardener decided to go for a walk, clear his head out, try to find the answer in the evening. So he was walking along through the countryside, past a beautiful field of golden pumpkins, when he happened to see a farmer. That's strange, thought the gardener. That farmer has yellow hair on top of his head, but a gray beard. I wonder. That very evening, the gardener appeared before the king. "Sire, I have the answer to your riddle." "Not possible," said the king. "How could you possibly have the answer to such a difficult riddle as that?" "Sire, I have had the good fortune to meet a farmer with hair as yellow as the sun, but the grayest beard I've ever seen. And it just so happens that when he was very young, all of the hair on top of his head was burned off in a fire. before it had a chance to grow back, he had grown his beard. And so, the hair on his head is much younger than the beard on his face. "Who told you that?" said the king. "Why, a farmer that grows pumpkins. I met him in the countryside this evening." "That's not possible! Did he tell you the answer?" "Yes, he told me the answer." "Guards!" The farmer with the strange hair was brought before the king. "Good sir, you have to answer to me now. You promised you wouldn't tell anybody the answer to that riddle until you had seen my face 200 times, and that was just yesterday morning. What do you have to say for yourself?" "Sire, I have seen your face 200 times since then." "You have not? What do you mean?" And the man pulled out a bag of 200 gold coins. Pulled out a coin and showed it to the king. "Sire, you gave me this bag of gold coins, and I must confirm that I have examined every single one of them. There are 200 in there." And the man flipped the coin over, and there on the back of the coin was the image of the king's own face. "You see, sire, I have seen your face 200 times since we spoke last." The gardener and the princess were married the very next day. And there, at their wedding feast, sitting in the place of honor, was a farmer, had yellow hair and a gray beard, the king of riddles. The end. I am the story girl, although sometimes people call me the girl with yellow hair. Thank you for joining the story today. If you like this story, please subscribe to my channel. I'd be happy to see you back every week. Post stories every single Tuesday. If you have a story that you would like me to tell, go ahead and post it in the comments. In a few months, we're going to be doing a month of all princess stories. If you have a princess story that's your favorite, post that in the comments. Thank you so much for joining. Bye!